Hello and welcome to IT Broken, where we share insight from our daily tech support calls. My name is Jorge, and today I'll be showing you how to install Windows 11 on your computer without replacing your current Windows 10 installation. Alright, so here's what to expect. I will be showing you how to get Windows 11. I'm going to introduce you to virtualization, and finally I'm going to show you how to install Windows 11 in a virtual environment on your own computer. As always, if you find this video of value, please like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified of new how-to videos coming your way. Also, if you know someone that could benefit from this video, you can also select the share button below and share it with them. And now, let's get started. Alright, since you're watching this video, you are obviously aware that Microsoft has released Windows 11 as of October 5th, 2021. It is a replacement for Windows 10, and you're either curious about it or you need to review it for work, whatever the case may be. Or perhaps you got a notice, a Windows Update notice on your own computer. It could look like this one or it could look like this one. There's a variety of them. But as an IT professional, we routinely get the question, should I upgrade to Windows 11? And although we treat every situation on a case-by-case basis, our general guideline is to wait 6 to 12 months before adopting a new Microsoft Windows operating system. In a nutshell, Microsoft is notorious for releasing bugs. We deal with them on a daily basis, so unless there's a business value proposition to upgrading immediately, our recommendation is to wait. With the release being October 5th, 2021, waiting 6 to 12 months, I myself, most of my clients will probably schedule it to install it on around October 5th, 2022. Again, just to give you a guideline to go by. All right, well, that being said, there are several ways to try Windows 11 without disturbing your current Windows 10 installation. The one I'll be showing you today makes use of what's called free VmWare Player. So let's go ahead and let's get to it. Well, I guess before we do get started, there are some prerequisites that you are going to have to meet, or your computer is going to have to meet in terms of hardware. Typically, you want to have an Intel i5 or AMD equivalent as far as a processor. RAM, you want to have a minimum of 12 gigabyte RAM, and hard drive space, really the images are going to take, the virtual images that is, are going to take about 50 gigabyte. At least that's what I'm going to be using. So if you have 100 gigabyte free space, that should be plenty. Then the other prerequisite is we'll need to download some software. We're going to be downloading VmWare Workstation Player and installing it on your computer. Then we're also going to download Windows 11 ISO, which is the installation media for Windows 11. If for whatever reason, if your computer does not meet this hardware requirements, especially the processor and the RAM, you probably don't even want to try this because it's going to go too slow. You're going to get frustrated. It may be glitchy just because you don't have enough horsepower. But if you do have a computer with this specs, then you can go ahead and try what we're about to do. As an example, I have a i7 processor. It's an old generation processor. This is an old computer that I'm using this on, and I have 24 gigabyte RAM. By the way, Windows 11 does require you to have a minimum of, I think, a generation 8 processor. Mine's obviously older than that. However, there are workarounds, and we're going to be showing how to, one of those workarounds in one of the other videos. So if you do subscribe to our channel, you'll be getting a notification when we release the video on how to install Windows 11 on hardware that's older than the generation 8 requirement that they have. In my case, here's my hard drives. I have a data hard drive and I have 2.8 terabyte free, so I'm good to do that. I have several hard drives. I'm using a NVMe SSD. My C drive is a SATA SSD, and my regular data drive is a typical hard drive. The reason I mention that is because these are 3 different speed hard drives, And actually I do a lot of my VMware on the faster hard drive. So again, we'll have another video talking about the differences in hard drive speed, which does come into play if you're doing a lot of VMware virtual images, if you're running them on your computer. Last but not least, here's an example, just jumping ahead a little bit. Here's an example of when you do create a virtual machine. At the end of the day, those are just files in your computer. So everything we do, at the, when it's all said and done, this is going to be it. The main thing is this is the storage file, this virtual disk right here. You can see this is an actual Windows 11 virtual machine that I have installed. The same one I'm going to walk you through, and it's using it in about 19 gigabytes, rounding up between all these files. Okay, so just to give you an idea. So assuming your computer meets all the specs, the next order of business is to go ahead and download VmWare free workstation player. So you can go to Google, do a search for it, and you should come up with the VmWare. Make sure it's VmWare.com. Don't fall for any of this other text bots and other downloads things. They could have viruses and so on. So always when you're doing downloads, make sure it's coming from the correct URL and domain name. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Just go ahead and VmWare Workstation Player. And here you have the option to download it for free. So we want to go ahead and actually click on the Windows 11. Windows 10 still available, but we want to click on Windows 11. Okay, and here we have a couple options. We have the installation assistant, and then we have the create Windows 11 installation media, and the one that we want for VmWare is the ISO. So we're going to go ahead and select the Windows 11 multi-edition ISO and go ahead and click download. Now we got to pick a language. United States, there we go. Hit confirm. All right, we got the 64-bit as an option now. And verify your download. But depending on your speed, it may take longer. You can see mine is fluctuating all over the place. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here, wait for that to finish downloading. All right, so now the next step is to go ahead and install the VmWare player. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to run as administrator. Go ahead next, accept the agreement. Go ahead and we're going to go ahead and add it to the path. We'll leave that as it is. And I'm going to check for updates, and I'm not going to join the experience program right now. I will get the desktop shortcuts. Okay, so VmWare completed the installation, so we'll click finish. So I'll double click on VmWare player. Okay, I'm going to use it for free. If I put in a license, it will become VmWare Workstation with some additional features. Okay, so now we are at the VmWare Workstation program. All right, and with the program in place, really all we need is VmWare player. And from the downloads, we're going to need the Windows 11 ISO. Now, before we do get started, we do have some decisions to make. If we look at the Windows 11 specifications, we see that processor-wise, we need 1 gigahertz, that's fine. RAM, the minimum we can select is 4 gig. Storage, we talked about having 100 gig. I'm going to be using 50 gig or less. And that's it. But you want to have an idea of what how much RAM you're going to allocate to the system. Okay. In my case, if I look at what's available to me, as I mentioned before, I'm using an i7. That's fine. But I have 12 gig now. My operating system, I want to leave about 8 gig for it. So if I have 12 gig, I'm going to allocate 4 to the VmWare, i.e. Windows 11. Okay, so that with that in place, let's go ahead and we're going to say create a new virtual machine. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the ISO image that I mentioned before. So I'm going to go to my downloads here. It's already there, but I'm going to click on it, hit open, going to hit next. It is a Microsoft Windows operating system. Now Windows 11 is not available on the list yet. I'm sure it'll be updated at some point. So we want to pick Windows 10 or later. Hit next. You can just name it whatever you want. This is just a label. It's going to be what's going to be labeled in your directory later on. So I'm just going to put Windows 11. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to only allocate 40 gigabyte. And then I'm going to go ahead. You have the option of making it one big file, or you can split it into multiple files. If I'm going to be backing it up and moving the files around, I usually split it into multiple files. It just makes it more resilient. Sometimes when you're transferring a large file and things get disconnected or you have issues, so you need to stop the process, that can get in the way. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and say split into virtual multiple files, I should say. As I mentioned, I'm going to make it 40. Hello. There we go, 40. Okay. I'm going to click Customize Hardware. All right. And this is where you can play with the memory. You can see it's at 2, so I'm going to push that up to 4. I could actually push it more because I know my system's not using all my memory right now. So if I look at, oops, wrong place. If I look at my task manager, as an example, if I look at performance and I look at memory, I'm only using 2 out of 12. So if I wanted to put it at 8, I could. I may do that just so it runs faster, but keep that in mind for yourself. You don't want to overcommit your memory. Okay, but for the demo, I'm going to put 8. Process, I'm going to leave that at 2. New CD, blah, blah, blah. Network, that's fine too. Nothing special we're going to do there. I may have another video where I show you more about these settings and how to tune them and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and hit close on this, and I'm ready to make the VMware. So I'm going to say finish. It's going to go ahead and create the VMware. Now if you're just curious, we can go to settings and options, and we can see where this is located, the working directory. So you see it's under my documents virtual machine, and it gave it the label of Windows 11. So even before we fire it up, let me show you that. So if I go to documents, virtual machines, Windows 11, there's the files that it created. Okay, just so you get a sense for it. So far it is at 5 megabytes, but we haven't actually installed the operating system yet. But I just want to give you a sense of what we're dealing with, because many times when we talk about virtualization, what's happening behind the scenes or the files associated with it is kind of like a black box for a lot of people. So just to kind of give you a sense of comfort as to what it is and where it's at. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Play Virtual Machine. Okay, so it's going to go, you're going to see it basically told you to hit a key to install. Alright, so that will run through the installation. I'm going to pause it here. Okay, so it ran through loading the file basically, and this is the next screen that you will see. So here we'll go ahead and hit next. It looks similar to the Windows 10 installation if you've ever done that. Okay, and from here the next thing we'll do is we'll click on install now. So once you press install now, you'll get this option to activate Windows. You probably don't have a key if you're trying it out, so you can go ahead and I don't have a key. If you do end up purchasing it, this is where you would enter the key if you purchase the retail version of Windows 11. And there's also other ways to activate it if you're on the subscription model, etc., etc. Okay, so but for now, for the demo, we're just going to go ahead and say I don't have product key. I'm going to select Windows 11 Pro, and the reason for that is it allows me to put a local user password and account as opposed to tying it to my Microsoft account, which we don't like to do for business. Okay, so then just accept the agreement, license terms, and I'm going to do a custom install. So there you see the 40 gigabyte hard drive that we specified when we created the virtual machine. So I'm just going to click on that and select next. It's going to run through its installation. Okay, so that took a few minutes. So you can see it automatically restarted once you complete it. So right now we're at the point of restart. I think on my computer it took about 5 minutes, just to give you an idea. All right, so okay, getting things ready and it's doing its initial boot took another 5 minutes, but this is the next screen you see where we pick the country region. So we're going to say United States in my case. Now, while that's doing that, I should point out, you'll notice down here at the bottom, VmWare automatically brought up this toolbar about installing VmWare install tools. We're going to go ahead and do that, but not until the operating system is up and running, because it's going to install it within the operating system. And that's just going to give you, actually it's going to smooth out the keyboard and stuff like that. So we're just going to go ahead and continue the Windows 11 installation and ignore this toolbar for right now at the bottom. Okay, no, we don't want to add a second layout. So it looks like the PC is going to restart again. I think this is the third restart that it does. So just so you have an idea of how, what it's going to do. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and give this device a name. So I'm just going to make it demo Win 11 PC. Okay, go ahead next. All right. And here we are. So I'm going to go ahead and set it up. Now, if you set up for personal use, it's going to want to use your Microsoft account. So I usually go with school or work down here. Hit next. Again, I want to use a local account. And we'll have another video about the whole Microsoft login versus local account. All right, I'm going to click on assigning options. I'm going to say domain join instead. I'm not really going to join a domain, but this lets me put in a name, a username. So I'm just going to call it demo user. All right, I'm going to hit next. I'm not going to put in a password again, just because it's for demo. Now I should point out, if you are really installing this for work, you are going to want to put in a password. That does come into play when you're sharing printers, files, and stuff like that. I usually turn everything off with reference to privacy. I don't really want Microsoft to know where I'm at, rather get diagnostic data, ink, whatever it is. I usually just turn everything off. Okay. All right, and there we go. We are finally at the Windows 11 screen. We're officially have Windows 11 running on our Windows 10 computer. But before we go too far, let's go ahead and complete, actually install the tools, the VmWare tools. So I'm going to click on install tools. And sometimes it pops up with the option to install the tools. Otherwise, we have to go to the D drive on our virtual machine. Alright, so that shortcut didn't work for me as far as installing the VmWare tool. So you can just do it by going to File Explorer. You see that it connected the DVD drive for VmWare tools, and just run the setup. I'm going to go ahead and click open. Yes. And again, this is just something that's unique to VmWare. When you install Windows 10 or Windows 11, it's going to want to install a set of tools that help the keyboard, the graphics, and things like that work better. So we want to install that first before we do really anything else with the virtual machine. So I'm just going to go ahead and complete that installation. Close the background because I know it's going to want to reboot. And there's a reboot waiting down here anyway for updates. So either way, we're going to want to reboot it. So, but first I want to install VmWare tools. Okay, so it finished. And there's the restart I was talking about. All right, so at this point you have Windows 11 installed as a virtual machine. You have VmWare Workstation running on your computer. And technically you have access to Windows 11. So once this reboots, I'm going to kind of show you around, just to validate the fact that you have Windows 11 and that you are running on your Windows 10 computer. All right, and we're back in Windows 11. I don't think there's any updates pending, so here you are. So technically, you know, if we look at our system within the VMware window, there it is, Windows, well, that's the name of the PC. Let's go down here. And there you go, Windows 11. Okay. If you go over here all the way to the lower left, your actual computer, and you can validate the fact that your computer is Windows 10. So here it is, Windows 10 is my computer, and I'm running a virtual computer within Windows 11. It's a fully functional installation. We can go ahead and open Microsoft Edge. Okay, and you have access to browsing, again, this PC. Okay, and again, if you look at the settings of this PC within Windows 11, it will confirm, you know, the processor we passed through, the 8 gig of RAM we passed through, also the hard drive. Oops, it's right there. You can see there's the 40 gigs that we passed through. Okay. And of course, here's your new Windows 11 interface, your downloads, your desktop, and so on. Okay, it moves around pretty quick, actually. Now, because it's running within your computer, you do have a couple options. You can enter full screen mode, which will put this into your full screen. And there you go. You can work on it as if that was the only operating system you had. You know, if you want to shrink the screen, so you have kind of the window environment that you can drag around or whatever, you can do that. You can shrink it. Now let me show you how to actually start it, because obviously we started because we ran the installation and inherently we were in the virtual machine. But let's go ahead and do a normal shutdown. Now again, you're shutting down Windows 11, not your Windows 10 computer. So when it shuts down Windows 11, it's going to close this window, and there you are. You're in your own desktop environment. To actually bring up Windows 11 again, you would go ahead and double click on your VMware icon. Within that, you're going to see your Windows 11 virtual machine. And all right, and I'm going to go ahead and play. And that's when you basically, it starts your Windows 11 virtual computer. It's always going to show the VMware splash screen just to kind of let you know that you're using the hypervisor. Okay, there you go. It takes about 30 seconds for it to boot up, depending on the computer speed, processor, and all that. Also, what else is running on your computer. It may take longer or less, actually. And there you are. You're in Windows 11. What's also neat about using this virtual environment is, let's say I'm working on something on Windows 11, or you're playing with something, whatever it may be. So as an example, I brought up this File Explorer. When you're done, you don't necessarily need to shut it down like we did before. You can actually suspend your guest. Now you can see it closed, but you actually didn't shut it down. When you play it again, it's going to pick up where you left off. So I'll bring it up again, VMware Player, click on that. Hit the play button, restoring virtual machine state. And there you go, right where we left off. Okay, and it came up pretty fast. All right. There you have it. You're running Windows 11 within your Windows 10 computer. If you found this of use, go ahead and subscribe. We'll probably be have additional videos on VMware, Windows 11, and always Windows 10 videos. So there's more coming your way. Well, again, this is Jorge. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos, hit the subscribe button. Or if you need tech support, the link to hire us is in the description. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great one.